The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening and welcome to the Extravaganza 2019 orientation for first-time folks and for folks who want to just get a refresher on the Extravaganza and figure out what this event's going to be and how it's going to work and how it can be the best possible event for you. We're excited you're here. We're excited you're coming to Jacksonville, and just want to share some information with you tonight. We have some goals for our time together. We want to introduce you to the network and the Extravaganza. We recognize that not everybody out there, especially people that haven't been before, might know what the network is and how this all works and what it is and what exactly you've gotten yourself into. We want to help you feel like you're a part of the community because you are. This is an important gathering of people, friends and colleagues and coworkers, and we're excited that you're going to be a part of it. We want to let you know what kind of resources are available to you both before, during, and after the event itself. And we just want you to feel prepared and confident and excited for the Extravaganza. It's going to be a great event, and we're super excited that you're going to be there and be a part of it. I want to make some quick introductions. There will be three of us leading this webinar this evening. My name is Todd Bugler. I am the executive director of the ELCA Youth Ministry Network. I'm blessed to serve in that role. I also serve as a pastor at Trinity Lutheran Church in Owatonna, Minnesota, which is a town a little bit south, probably an hour and 15 minutes drive south of downtown Minneapolis. Great little community and a wonderful congregation. I got two friends and colleagues that are going to be leading this with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Maybe Amy, if you want to go first and just tell everybody about yourself a little bit, that'd be great.
Sure thing. I'm Amy Wagner. I hail from Lincoln, Nebraska. I serve in a congregation as a communications coordinator, and I am the regional facilitator coach for the network, and I've been doing that for a number of years, and I'm blessed to be able to do so.
Excellent. Go ahead, Justin. Tell us about yourself.
All right, my name is Justin Snyder, and I'm a deacon in the LCA, and I serve in Gloria Dei Lutheran Church in Olympia, Washington. And I've been there for about 15 years. And and so I love the Extravaganza. It's great for networking and learning new tools, and you can always teach an old dog new tricks. And I started going to the Extravaganza back in 2004 in New Orleans. And so it's been a lot of fun, and it's fun to be a part of kind of some leadership roles through the Extravaganza. And so this year I'm the regional facilitator for Region 1.
Excellent. Thanks. Thanks for sharing that. Just a quick word about the how this webinar works, and we want to have your questions answered as well. If you'll notice, on the right-hand side of your screen will be somewhere in there is a box that looks a little similar to this, not totally like this. My version's a little bit different because I'm an administrator in the GoToMeeting thing, but something like this, and there's a spot called questions, and in that spot you can type in questions. And so as questions come up, if you're things that we're not answering completely, or things you want clarification on, or things that we haven't talked about yet that you want to make sure we talk about, please type your question in, and we'll make sure that we get to all of them. Some of them we may interrupt what we're doing to pop in because it's apropos to that moment. Others we may hold to the end, but we're going to make sure we get all your questions answered. So please feel free to type your questions in there in the box. So just a quick word about what this is and how it happened, how it came to be, who's putting it on, all that kind of stuff. The ELCA Youth Ministry Network is an organization that's been in existence actually since 1997. The mission statement of the network is that the ELCA Youth Ministry Network strengthens and empowers adult leaders of children, youth, and family ministry in service to Christ. That's it. It's pretty simple. The way this came about, just to give you a really, really quick history, back in the days prior to the ELCA, when there were three different church bodies that all were eventually merged to become the ELCA, in that time, there were 17 staff people working among the three denominations to support adults who work with children, youth, and family ministry. They were deployed all over the country. It was great. Lots of resources, lots of support that was there. When the merger happened that formed the ELCA, that number went from 17 to 4 because you don't always get the sum of the parts when you merge. It's just kind of the way it works. And so the, uh, uh, the denomination could do less to support the people that were doing this work. It's nobody's fault. It just is what it is. And so the people that were doing the work, the people in the congregations, kind of said, you know what, if the ELCA is unable to do this for us, they don't have the resources. Well, let's figure out a way to do it ourselves. And so a couple conversations happened at other events. We gathered some people together to do some planning and dreaming, and we decided that we wanted to do our own event, a chance to pull people from the ELCA together, especially because it was a new denomination and we just didn't know each other yet. It was great. So we wanted to do someplace that was cheap and inexpensive and easy to fly to, and it had cheap hotel rates. And so we went to Vegas. And the first extravaganza happened in 1997 in Las Vegas at the Stratosphere Hotel. The name actually was the Extravaganza. I kid you not. The Extravaganza, and the after that, then the name Extravaganza just sort of stuck. And so that's what's been ever since then. But from that first event came the realization, as about 200, 250 of us gathered, that we needed more than just an event. We needed a network and a way of supporting each other, helping each other, sharing resources, because this can be kind of lonely work. Especially there's parts of the country where there just aren't close connections with our ELCA. There's not a lot of ELCA churches, and those people kind of felt like they were twisting in the wind. So how can we better connect with each other? So out of that, the network was born. It's a standalone 501c3 organization, separate from the ELCA, but yet in very close partnership with the ELCA. And it's been a blessing to be a part of that organization. The vision of the network is that we envision a future where faith formation with young people in ELCA congregations flourishes and becomes stronger, where all leaders feel supported and encouraged, where resources are made available, and where ministry with young people is lifted up by every part of the church. We think that's an important thing for us, so we are involved kind of with all these different areas, creating resources, connecting people, and advocating for ministry with the young and their families in the church. Now, the way we decided to organize the network was simple. The ELCA is actually broken, as you may know, into 9 different regions. We decided to organize ourselves in the exact same way. So we have regional facilitators. You're going to hear more about that in a little bit. One in each part of the country, one for each region. And then we have other leadership groups as well. The network is run by a board of directors. It's 7 people, wonderful, passionate, amazing, gifted folks who are responsible really for the vision and the direction and the mission of the network. They work. I get to work with them, and then the different staff folks and such to help set that direction, to figure out how to implement the vision. There are these regional facilitators, and again, you're going to hear more about those folks in a second. They're really important, and they're going to be an important connecting point for you. When you're at the event itself. There's the Extravaganza planning team. That's the group that is putting together the event that you're coming to. They are hardworking right now. Man, the messages and emails flying around today like crazy as we get close to the event. Third Tuesday Conversation team, they put together our podcast. The Connect Journal team does our magazine. Discipling Cohorts initiative, you'll hear about that a little bit more a little later as well. That's a great way of connecting people with each other for opportunities for mentoring and learning together. There's a communications team that works on our the vision for how we connect with folks. The different platforms that we use. The Multicultural Initiatives team, that's an important piece, an important group that's working on helping us to become fulfillment of what we think God's vision for the church is. And then there are some staff folks that do really, they're kind of more stipended or honorarium folks as well, but they do some of the work behind the scenes that make all these things happen. I want to connect you with the regional facilitators a little more closely because, again, they are your connecting point. Amy, you're their coach. Maybe do you mind giving us just kind of a rundown as far as who the RFs are and kind of what they do?
Sure. So like Todd said, that the group of regional facilitators, which if you remember the map or perhaps you know your region, you can look at the name of the person, and hopefully you've heard from them more recently. But they're your connecting point. They're basically the bridge between local networks that you may be a part of, or what you do on on your church level to the national network. They're there to support you and the work that you do, whether that's volunteer work with young people in your congregation, or you're paid, or everything in between. And so they are there to give you tools, to connect you with other folks, and basically be your liaison and host for the extravaganza as well. And so there's a special time that the regional facilitator will gather folks during the extravaganza and the regional touch points. And so that way you can just also get together with other individuals that work or volunteer within your region, and put faces to names and all of that stuff. So there, yeah, that's all I have.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you. So again, you'll have chances to meet and to connect with these people, and we really encourage you to do that. They're a great resource for you, both at the event, but also in your ministry back home, wherever you live as well. Let's talk about the event itself just a bit. The extravaganza itself, you probably know some of these basic things. Obviously, it's a 4-day event. That's what you signed up for. It happens every year in a different city, a different location around the country. It is kind of the premier learning and training event within the ELCA for those of us who do this work. But it's way more than that. Maybe Justin and Amy, kind of you're folks who kind of stepped into it once it was going, and you become a part of that community. Do you want to just talk a little bit about your experience connecting with and becoming a part of the community at the extravaganza?
Sure. Yeah, I can go first. So yeah, I feel like when you're working in a congregation or a ministry, you're kind of, your head is down and you're kind of just focused on kind of your own ministry and what you're doing. And, you try to do what you can. But then you might work with a couple other local congregations or your synod. But this event is really neat because it really expands your boundaries, and you get to work with and learn from people from all different walks of life, from all over the country, and from different perspectives of ministry too. And so it's just pretty neat that we can work together, fellowship, and just get together for a common purpose, but from all over the country. So it's a really, really neat and unique event.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, go ahead, Amy.
My first experience with the extravaganza, I kind of just happened upon it when I was new to youth ministry. I probably had only been serving a couple of months. I didn't really know any or many other people serving in that role in my area. And so I had done like a Google search. I'm not even sure how I found the extravaganza, but I went the first year not really knowing many people. I may have known one person, but that's because I had known them because I had worked at a summer camp with them. But then by leaving at the end of the extravaganza, that really spearheaded our desire, not only the connections of folks within our region, but also on our synod, in our synod group, to start a local network. And so my experience with the extravaganza really spearheaded the desire to get and create and sustain a local network to help me feel less isolated in the ministry that I was leading.
Fantastic. My experience with the extravaganza was similar. I've been with it since the beginning, but really that idea of having colleagues and friends and people that I can call on with questions or things I wonder about, for me, was an important piece. And those are all people that I kind of met through the network and connecting. And those are people that are still my friends and that I still call and ask questions of when I'm wondering or curious. So it's just kind of creates these great systems. There's things that the words that we use to describe this experience. Really, they're words about the whole of the network, but they're lived out in the extravaganza. They are renewal, education, and connection. The network, the extravaganza, is about renewal. That's an important part of what we do. Justin, you want to talk just a little bit about your experiences with that and how we live that out at the event?
Sure. Youth ministry is very busy, and again, you're every week you're doing your own thing. You're just trying to get stuff done. Sunday school and youth group, confirmation, whatever you have on your task list. And it is nice to get away and do a I mean, it's not a retreat, but it is an event where it gets you away from your normal day-to-day stuff. And so it is fun to see all the different people from all different churches. And so, like it says, the event is church, and we do get to worship and pray with each other. And there's always a prayer chapel that if people have more spiritual needs, they can go and kind of renew their spirit. And the music is always really, really good at the general sessions. And that for me is a renewal, because I'm not in charge of anything per se. And so it's nice to just be spiritually fed by someone else during the event. And then, like it says there, at the Extravaganza, we experience the love and the grace of God. And so sometimes the messages you hear are very inspiring because they're focused on what we do. And so usually we're trying to feed other people spiritually, but it's nice to be fed ourselves. And at this event, it's definitely focused on that. And I really like it. And just getting away from your own home too, and getting out of that comfort zone and into something a little bit different. Maybe it's relaxed because you're at a hotel, or you get to eat out some more, or you just get to relax and be in the presence of other children of God that are kind of in the same place as you in their profession. So yeah, so the renewal is really a great focus for this event.
Fantastic. Great. Just a quick reminder, too, that if people have questions, again, on that little box on the right-hand side, there's a drop-down tab called questions. You can type them in there, and as we go along, we'll be glad to answer them. The second word that we think about when we talk about both the network and the Extravaganza is education. Justin, do you want to talk a little bit more about that as well, kind of how that's lived out, how you've experienced education as a part of the event?
Yeah. So there's two main areas that we have learning or education in, and one is the general sessions, the large group sessions, and those are all done in a ballroom, and they're a lot of fun because there's different speakers, there's different musicians, sometimes there's commercials for different ministries going on throughout the LCA, and sometimes it's time for awards or jokes or other fun stuff, and so that's a lot of fun, and it's obviously all those group sessions are based on our topic for our theme for the year, and then there's also workshop sessions, and I really love the workshop sessions. They're really focused, like it says, the nuts and bolts and skills and tactics oriented, and lots of things you can use right away. So they're going to be focused on one, like either area of ministry, or led by someone who really knows a lot about that one little topic. And so on both the website and on the app, it talks about different categories of workshops. And so there's practitioner led, so someone who's leading it, who actually does this ministry. And then there's personal care and wellness workshops, and then collective wisdom, where it's you get to talk back and you get to go through things together. And all of them are really good for getting down and focusing on the nuts and bolts of that one topic that those are in. And I know in a minute we're going to talk about the app, but the app is really good this year for the workshops to search through and see what you want to go to, and you can add a little to do to go there in your schedule and schedule out which workshops you can go to, and then all the rooms will be listed in there. Because they're kind of all over the place within the hotel, and so I really encourage people to challenge themselves. Maybe go to a workshop that maybe it's a topic or a ministry that they don't do or participate in or don't do well, and maybe you'll get some more perspective and some more ideas in these workshop sessions that maybe you haven't thought of or even experienced, and so you could bring that back to your ministry or your church congregation and try it out. So. Lots of time and space for education. And I should also add, between all the sessions and the workshops, you're often, eating with other youth workers, fellowshipping, and there's also lots of time to discuss, oh, hey, I went to this workshop, you should go to this one if it's held again, or hey, here's something that I do in my ministry that you should try. And so there's a lot of education learning that goes on outside of the walls of the general sessions or the workshops. So Yep, lots of education.
Excellent. Good. Hey, I have to apologize too. If you hear a weird jingling noise or whatever, that's our dog. Apparently, there's a squirrel walking around somewhere outside. He's kind of running from window to window. So I apologize for that. The other word that we think is critical to the identity of the network and the event is connection. It's how we connect with each other, which is a really important part of what we do at the event. Amy, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, definitely. So we talked a little bit about like how the regional facilitators can help facilitate that and help you to connect with other folks, because we want you to know that you're not alone in the ministry that you do. Maybe you serve in a context that is far away from another youth worker or another church or whatever, or even like you can feel siloed in just in within the ministries of your congregational context, but you're not alone, and you're not alone at this event either. So you are encouraged to be the network together, to sit across from someone like Justin was saying, ask them what's working for them, what did they learn at a workshop, or what are things that you could pray for, or maybe you have some prayers on your heart that you could use some, prayers as well, and share those conversations. The ELCA network is more than just the extravaganza, and this event helps us to come together once a year, face to face, to kind of recharge and regroup and extend those connections beyond just the one-time event. And don't be afraid to bring those business cards so that you can keep in contact with folks that you meet to continue the conversation beyond just the 3 or 4 days that you'll be together.
Awesome. Good suggestion. Thank you. Hey, a question came in. Tiffany asked a question. Out of curiosity, would it be wise to bring a laptop with us, or a notebook, or both? Will we be sitting at tables at the workshops? Do you want to go ahead and what's your thoughts on that? You guys have been in that role. What's your thoughts about what to bring, or if a laptop would be helpful?
I say yes. I have brought both a MacBook Pro before, and I also have brought my phone before. If I bring just my phone, it's a lot of typing. I love typing notes, especially from the workshops, or getting good quotes or ideas from the general sessions. But I would say whatever you take good quick notes from, and I have notes going back all the way back to like 2005 at the Extravaganza, and so I would say sometimes they're tables, but I think mostly it's just chairs. This year I'm bringing an iPad with a keyboard. I feel like that's the best of both worlds, and so I can take notes. But yeah, I mean, and I always feel like a lot of workshop people give out handouts, but just to take your own notes and just remember what you really find helpful, I think is really good. So bring whatever you can type quick notes on, because I feel like it's really useful to look at those notes again, because I tend to lose physical handouts, but my digital notes kind of are around forever. So.
Right. Fantastic. And I know that I think the workshop rooms are pretty much all set up in rows of chairs. The ballroom is going to be set up with round tables this year, so you can use that as well. I think there's less need to take notes in the general sessions than there are the workshops, but you can certainly do that. So, Amy, do you agree, or any other thoughts you want to add to that?
I'd say you will see everything in between. So it's really whatever your comfort level is. It might be hard to go back to your room as far as if you wanted to drop something off. So I would definitely recommend bringing a bag, regardless if you plan to bring your computer or not, or some, whatever, to keep those handouts together. However you want to take notes, you can take notes. Like for me, if I don't physically take notes sometimes, or I need to take notes all in one location, or else like Justin, they get lost somewhere. So I think you will see everything. So feel free to bring your computer, but not everyone brings their computer. So you'll fit in regardless of however you decide to take notes.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, let's talk about the event itself and some of the logistics that that connect with that. We are going to be, and I'm assuming you know this by now, but at the Hyatt Regency in Jacksonville. It's a great hotel. It is right in the heart of downtown Jacksonville. Actually, literally right on the river. When you walk out the main doors of the hotel, if you walk about 30 feet straight ahead across the little entryway, okay, maybe 40 or 50 feet, you'd walk right in the river. So don't do that. But it's just right there on the river, and there's a river walk that runs along the river from in front of the hotel and walks down towards past downtown. There are river taxis that will take you across the river for a small fee and to other restaurants. There's restaurants just down from the hotel on the same side of the river. There's an area called Jacksonville Landing, which is there's a bunch of different restaurants and things there. There's lots of little restaurants kind of tucked in small nooks and crannies in the streets behind the hotel as well. It's just kind of a really fun, walkable area and a fun place to visit. The hotel itself has 3 restaurants on site and a hotel bar. Everything from a high-end restaurant to just a regular standard lobby restaurant, and then there's a place that you can get grab-and-go sandwiches and things like that as well. So it's going to be a really good hotel for us. Lots of great ballroom and meeting space as well. We're very excited about it. The hotel has free Wi-Fi in the sleeping rooms. It's been a good place for us to be and to work with as we get prepared for the event. As we think about the logistics and everything of getting to Jacksonville, there's lots of ways to get yourself around. 90% of the people that come to Extravaganza fly into the airport there instead of driving. And there are ways to get downtown from the airport. We encourage you to go to our travel page, elcaymnet.org/travel discounts. And there are discounts for for Super Shuttle, which will run you to the hotel, 10% discount on that. Be aware that if you take a Super Shuttle, it's great, it's convenient, it drops you right at the door. It might stop at a couple other hotels on the way. It usually will take multiple people downtown, which is why it's less expensive than a taxi. So you might just stop at a couple other hotels. Might be a little longer drive, but not bad at all. Also, lots of rideshare and taxi services. I've done Uber, I've done Lyft. They're both very convenient as well. Generally, I think it's a 20 to 25 minute drive, if I remember right, from the airport downtown, in that range of time. The hotel, we also arranged for discounted parking for our participants, $15 a day with in and out privileges as well, which is a good rate off their standard rate as well. So we encourage you to use one of those ways to get downtown and to get around. Rich just mentioned as well, typed in the question box as well. He lives in Jacksonville and reminds us that actually the food court at the Jacksonville Landing is closed, which is true. There are other restaurants in that vicinity that we've been in, and actually we have some events planned in as well. Some of our groups and synods will be doing events at as well. But you're right, the little food court there is not actually open anymore, but there are plenty of food options around, and actually the hotel will have some discounted food as well. So thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder, Rich. A couple other things about the Extravaganza in terms of the connecting and such, and getting settled and what happens when you get there. Amy, do you want to talk a little bit about this piece of it?
Certainly. When you get to there. Okay, perfect. I just was not expecting that. But
sorry, did I read the wrong slide? I think I had you for this slide.
Fine. You're good. It's all good. So depending on the time that you get or that you arrive into Jacksonville's, the registration table will be after you check into the hotel. You want to check into the hotel first, regardless of when you arrive. And then once you have gotten your room and gotten settled, go ahead and visit the registration table if you arrive after that's been set up, and you can view the schedule online. And then take a stroll around the exhibit hall, get familiar with the space, and just do whatever you need to do. Sometimes, like, I get really exhausted from experiences like this just because, like, I feel like I have to be on all the time. And traveling can be exhausting too. So if you want to catch a nap or something before the event, you're totally welcome to do that, obviously. And then maybe find some old friends, some new friends to visit with and, just chat with and stuff. So the locations of each of those, or of all of the Extravaganza locations, will be in the app. And they are in the app. So, go up to, I'm not sure what floor or if there's different floors because I haven't been to the hotel. But there'll be signage as well to say this is where the Extravaganza stuff is. So then you can just do all of that and read through all the material. And if you get there a little bit early, maybe look through the and plan out your workshop kind of rotation or whatever you would like to do. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Stephanie just popped a question in, asked, is there early check-in at the hotel? She arrives around 1-ish. There may be, Stephanie. It's going to depend. We are actually coming in on the heels of another large group behind us that's checking out the night or the day before, or the day we arrive, the day they go out. So there may be early check-in, but it's going to really depend on if they've been able to get your room turned around or not, and clean and ready. So it's always good to ask and to check, and they very well might be able to get you into a space. So definitely check into that. So the there's another piece I want to just touch base on. That was weird. Oh, jumped to the wrong slide. Sorry. That is the Discipling Cohorts Initiative. This is something that is connected with the Extravaganza and also runs parallel to it. The Discipling Cohorts Initiative is an important piece of what the network does that I think could really be a benefit to you. Basically, I think of it as a way to add value to your Extravaganza experience. I know that sometimes for folks, it's hard to talk to a congregation and say, I want to go to this conference, I want to go and learn things and bring it back and implement them. But then you look at the price tag and it's expensive, and we know it's expensive, and we do our best to keep the costs low. Discipling Cohorts Initiative is a program that actually runs throughout the year, and it starts each year at the Extravaganza, and it's a small group program. The goal which is to help create communities of support and sharing of resources that happens in a way more in depth even than the Extravaganza, because it'll continue on a monthly basis, and to work together to create a plan for how you're going to continue to grow vocationally and spiritually. We train peer coaches. They go through a 2-day training on how to do this, and there's a particular curriculum plan that we have put together that actually was written for the network and for Discipling Cohorts. We have a great team of people that have put that together. And we really strongly encourage people to sign up to be a part of a cohort for a year. It's a once-a-month commitment for a year. And I think of it this way. When you go back to those people and you say, look, here's what this event got me. One of the things that you can add to this is, and now I'm also a part of this group that's going to continue to meet and talk about what we've learned and talk about how we implement it and talk about how we can grow in our skills. And how I, as a professional or a volunteer, can grow in what I do. And the best part about the whole thing is because of a generous grant from the ELCA's Synodical and Congregational Mission Unit, there's no cost to being a part of a discipling cohort. It's a great thing. And so we really encourage people to do that. You can get more information and you can sign up to be a part of a cohort by going to disciplingcohorts.org. They will also have a table in the exhibit hall that you can go to. Also, you'll be able to sign up, and hopefully, we got some folks we know that are going to be a part of them that can't be at the Extravaganza, but those that are they're going to try to actually meet face to face prior to the or at the Extravaganza itself, prior to the year starting when you get home. One important thing to note: someone just asked this question as well. Cohorts may be geographic if people are in close proximity. More likely, it'll be online, because people will be separated by distance too far to get together once a month. But it's still a great thing. I really strongly encourage you to be a part of that. Then Stacy just asked a question: is there an email still forthcoming of our assigned groups for discipling cohorts? I believe there is. I thought that was sent out, but it might not have been. I'll tell you what, Stacy, I'm going to keep your note here, and I'm going to shoot a note to Barbara Harner when the webinar is done and ask her if she sent that out, and if so, if she could resend yours, I want to make sure you get that information. So thanks for asking that question. Okay, so continuing on. One of the things we've talked about, you've heard mentioned a couple different times, is the app. Really excited about this. This is a brand new thing. We've had an app in the past, but to be honest, it wasn't great. It worked, but it wasn't super functional and super helpful. We've created this last year. We scratched the old app completely. We actually dumped the company we were working with and went to a new server and a new app, and we're really excited about it. I'm just telling you now, you're going to want to download the app. I'd actually do it even today if you haven't done it yet. On the app, pretty much everything about the Extravaganza is on the app. There's a full schedule. There's a guide to the hotel, so much so that if you click on a workshop, you're interested in a particular workshop, and you click on it, it'll pop up a map of where that specific workshop is, which is super helpful. There are bios and information on the speakers and musicians. There's lists of all the organizations that are in the exhibit hall. There's a restaurant guide you can click on that I think is also interactive. You can click on it. It'll show you, give you directions on how to get to a restaurant. Information on our theme of Disrupt is there. There's a space for people to post prayer requests, which is really helpful. And actually, there's a lot of prayer requests already on there. So I encourage you to go on there and pray for those people. Or if you have something you'd like your colleagues to pray for, post it there as well. And then as the event goes along, last minute updates or changes or schedule shifts will all be listed on the app, as well as the website, but on the app for certain. So we really encourage you to make use of that. In the past, we had a big, thick program book. It was like 45 pages. And then we had the app was kind of a supplemental piece. We're really flipping that over this year. The app is going to be our primary way of doing this. We're still going to have some printed material in a program book, but much smaller, just 16 pages, much less information, because we're really trying to push everything towards the app, both because we want to be more green and not just use up a whole lot of paper, but also just because it's quicker and more efficient, and we can make changes on the fly if we need to. And so we really encourage you to download the app. You can get it wherever you get apps, or at elcaymnet.org/app. The other thing I want to highlight on it is that on the schedule, and you can see the image here, if you look at the items on the right-hand side, you see a little red plus sign in a circle. And actually, this is the schedule for the event. But if you click on that plus sign that shows up there, then it'll automatically add it to your custom schedule. If you look at the bottom right now, the screen is showing network calendar. But if you were to click on that little box where it says My Schedule, it will just click on the things that you are interested in. So you can basically create a little custom schedule, which is a fantastic tool to use. I've already got my custom schedule set up for what meetings and events and workshops and things I want to be a part of. So I really encourage you to make use of that. We're almost to the end of our time together. Before we finish up, I just want to double check and make sure if you have any questions left, that you have an opportunity to ask questions and to use it. Actually, Karen just asked a question. Is it a guidebook app? The answer to that is yes. It's Guidebook that put it out. However, we have it set up as our own separate system app. So if you go to the App Store and search for ELCA Youth or ELCA YMNet, it'll show up on that list, and you'll download it as an own standalone app. We work with Guidebook to put it together, but we have our own icon, our own app that you click on to download. Tom just asked a question: when does this extravaganza really start and end? Well, that's a great question. It depends on what programs you're a part of. I will say the main event itself starts on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Friday afternoon before that, we have early bird workshops that happen just in case people get in early and such. You got some time to kill. We discovered we had a lot of folks wandering around on Friday afternoons with nothing to do, so we scheduled a couple of workshops then. So I think beginning at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then again at, I can't remember if it's 3 or 3:30. There's a second workshop as well before dinner, but the main event starts on Friday night at 7 p.m. We also do intensive care courses, which are pre-courses. They're a separate sign-up, a little separate additional cost, but it's more of a focused learning time with a teacher, 12 hours on a single subject that happens Thursday and Friday morning. Thursday during the day and Friday actually till early afternoon. So that for those folks, it starts then. But for most people, it starts Friday at 7 o'clock. Great question from Stacy as well. She asked, can anyone explain what a symbol is? SYMBOL. Yes, that's a good question. And it's funny you asked that because Symbol is an organization, a sub-network within the network called the Synod Youth Ministry Band of Leaders. I didn't make the acronym up, so I can't take credit for that. But that is basically Synod staff people who work with faith formation. So the folks who work in your Synod office, they have their own kind of pre-meeting and meetings during the event itself. It's a great question because it shows up in the schedule just as symbol. One of the things in the little program book, we had a little extra space this year, so we put in a glossary. So when you get your glossary, your program book, you can look at that, and little things like that will explain what those things are. But I'm glad you asked. So if you're on a Synod staff or a volunteer helping lead a Synod youth ministry, Symbol might be an organization for you to connect with. Karen asked, do we have to use a guidebook login if we already have one? I don't know the answer to that, Karen. That's a great question. I could try to find that out. I know that we do have a login for the app, but I don't know if that, because ours is a standalone, if you need to do a separate one or not. I'm sorry, I don't have that information. I can try to find that out. I apologize for that. Great questions. Really thankful for that as well. I have no other questions that have popped in. Justin or Amy, do you have any closing thoughts or things you want to share before we finish up the webinar?
Sure, I can go. I think I just wanted to make sure that that you know that you can use this event for however you need to use this event, and get involved in whatever ways that you need to. So if you need to take this weekend as a respite, take the weekend as a respite. If you need to learn about a certain topic or whatever, there's those deeper dive opportunities on Sunday. But make this event whatever you need it to do. You know what's going on in your ministry and your life, and so you know what's going to serve you the best. So don't feel pressure to do everything, or if you're a do everything kind of person, you're welcome to do everything. There are some meals that are provided, so make sure you know which meals are provided in your registration fee. They're listed on the app, on the calendar, like Sunday night dinner is provided. And so just so you know that, so you're not buying you don't need to buy every single meal on your own.
And then synod meals, your synod may host a meal as well. Mm-hmm. So look to your synod leaders for that.
Yes. So it's really, I have really enjoyed this event over the years, even though I don't directly do youth ministry in my congregation, and I do kind of just volunteer work with the synod that I'm a part of. And so I have just found this to be the most uplifting weekend of my, winter for sure. Mm-hmm. But also I just look forward to this family that gets together and that I get to be a part of, and that is always growing. And we couldn't be who we are as people who work in a congregational context or with young people in a congregation without others supporting us and surrounding us in prayer and in ideas and in just life.
Awesome. Thank you. Before we jump to you, Justin, Karen just asked a follow-up question. I'm trying to sign up. I'm assuming you mean for the app, but it keeps telling me I'm using the wrong login. You might need to create a new login for that then. And actually, you can access the app without signing up. You can just access it and use it. But if you're signing it up, if you want to post like prayer requests or things, it'll ask you just to create a username and such. And I think for this one, then, it sounds to me like you'd need to create one. If you continue to have trouble, email me, Karen. My email address is todd@elcaymnet.org. That's TODD. And either I will be able to help you, or I will connect you up with Andy, who's kind of the guru on the network app, and he might be able to help you get that figured out. So just shoot me an email if it doesn't work for you, and we'll get that working. Justin, any closing thoughts?
No, you guys said it all. So I'm excited for the event, and you guys should be too. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you. This is a great event. It is an event for you. It's put on by people who work with young people. And so we're hoping that this really gets at what you need. And so I just had other questions. Stephanie asked, squeak the question in. If we aren't able to check in before the intensive care course, what should we do with our things? I think you should duct tape them to your back and carry around them with you everywhere you go, Stephanie. That would be no, actually, the thing you could do is you can check them at the desk, the bellhop desk. Go there, and they'd be glad to take and store them for you. You probably want to slip them a buck at the end as a tip or something, or a buck per bag is kind of standard. But they'll be glad to check and watch your things for you if your room isn't ready. Great question. Thanks. Thanks so much. And thanks all of you for being a part of this event, and even more importantly, a part of the network, and for the work that you do with young people in our congregations. It's important work, and we're grateful to you for being colleagues. Looking forward to seeing you and meeting you in Jacksonville. It's going to be a fantastic 4 days. If any other questions come up, you can email us. Again, it's my email is todd@elcaymnet.org, or check the website for frequently asked questions, or pop a question on our Facebook group as well. Thanks so much. Take care, and God bless.